Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm MK.
And I'm Courtney.
And Courtney. How are you?
Thank you for asking. I have so much to say. Um, so we've already spent a few minutes
Yeah.
talking about the Super Bowl, etc. But it has been, while the Super Bowl itself was pretty disappointing, one of the worst Super Bowls we've had in a while.
Go Birds.
Um,
Listen, I did
here's
I did actively boycott the Super Bowl
right,
like I said I was going to,
right.
and then I saw a tweet from Jason Tartick that was like, "Where was this team 2 weeks ago?" So I was like, "Hold on." So I pulled up the score and it was 40-6, and I just go,
Bro.
"Thank you so much."
Like, here's the thing. I will never root for the Eagles because in my heart I cannot. However, I have a lot of pros as to why that go along with the Eagles winning. Um, so I'd like to state my case. However, that said, the game still sucked. It was a boring game that nothing happened except Patrick Mahomes got basically punched in the face 17 times. Like literally,
Which Brittany Mahomes made the internet very aware of how she felt about that.
I totally miss her saying I'm not in the Mahomes TikTok
Oh
or
God.
internet. Um, but
I just found a TikTok where even Patrick Mahomes thought his own wife was racist. Like
look,
it was like a
look.
Q&A with like Patrick and his wife, and he asked her, he was like, what's my favorite cheat meal day? And she goes, fried chicken. And he looked like, the fuck is, he was like, Mexican food. And just like looked at her like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And the caption just said, when even your wife is racist.
But also she might leave him soon because he has really screwed up his team. Like again, I'm not a Chiefs fan by any means. I'm just anti-Eagles usually. But I will say, glad their offense did so well. One, because Saquon Barkley, love of my life, highlight of my life,
Oh my God,
originally came.
the videos of his daughter wishing him good luck before the game, like the sound.
He originally came from the Giants,
Hmm.
which, as you know, did a real disservice to him. You may not know that. This isn't that kind of podcast,
No.
but so you know, the
Like to the
Giants did
point
a
where
real disservice to him.
to the point where his small baby child, his little daughter, who I adore, when he got traded to the Eagles, said to him, "Daddy, does that mean you get to win games now?"
Right,
Right.
It is such a nightmare. This man broke the record for rushing yards for all season, which everyone was like, it's postseason. I'm like, that is not the record he's breaking.
No,
I
he's
understand we
not
are in
picking up he's
postseason.
not picking up a regular season record. He's picking up a
Right.
complete season record. It's a
All
different.
yes. I explained that to so many people and so many people that are football people. And I was like, this is a different record. This is a different person than you've heard of that has been running this record.
Yeah.
It is from, I think 97 was the last time it was
Right.
broken. Like, okay, keep up, keep up. It was his birthday.
Hmm.
So happy birthday, Saquon. He did not get his touchdown, which was a real bummer.
Yeah.
But I just adore the hell out of him. And I followed him when he was a Giant. He was on my fantasy team for every year he was on the Giants because he still got me points even though they never won a game.
Right.
And I loved him. He is Malik Neighbors is my new Saquon Barkley for the Giants, in case anyone was wondering. We'll see if he can
Neighbors is
if
good.
he can stay in one piece. He's hurt
Right.
every other game. But also Saquon is the biggest 50 that was at this game because he came out and after everyone, if you didn't see, for those of you who didn't watch the game or did not pay attention to living under a rock, so you're not a Swiftie or a football fan, which is feels rare. Feels like you're
Yeah.
at least one of those things.
One of those things. Yeah.
So when Taylor Swift came on the screen, everyone booed her. And like, look, you can be mad at the Chiefs. You can be mad at Swift, but
I'll be honest, I laughed at that just because I mean, I love Taylor's music.
mhm.
I've never had a problem with Taylor as a person. So, so entirely sick of her face being on the Jumbotron.
Right.
Like, I understand that
Which is fair.
I understand that she is also famous, but like Russell Williams is married to Sierra.
Mhm.
Where's her
Sierra, she never gets on the screen. And
where
the same thing
where's
with Haley
wait, well,
Steinfeld.
Haley Steinfeld did specifically request not to, because
I think Sierra feels that way too.
if she didn't, the Bills would be all over it.
Right.
But like Haley Steinfeld, Sierra, Aaron Rodgers was dating what's her name?
Okay, but
Shailene.
Aaron Rodgers wasn't on the field.
Okay,
Most
but
of the time.
when he was with Shailene Woodley,
Oh, ages
yeah,
ago. Yeah.
right. But like when he was dating Shailene
When
Woodley,
he
like
played
this,
football.
right? Exactly. This is not the first time that a quote unquote
Yeah.
star player has dated someone with even more star power than
Right.
them, and the NFL has just overused Taylor to the point of
Well, here's the thing. It's annoying. It's super annoying. It's frustrating. However, the NFL has made so much more money
oh
because Taylor brought the Swifties. So of course they're gonna give her like she's basically a
no,
sponsor at this point.
exactly. I get
And it's
it,
like I get it.
but it's also like I think it's funny that people are over it.
Right. Well, yeah, no, and it's fine to be over. Like I was like, I think we were trying to decide like how many times you're gonna see her. We saw her once. Once in the whole game. She may have been at the end. I don't know. I didn't watch the end after it was over. But in the like second quarter, one time everyone booed, never again. But Saquon came out, bestie Saquon, and he's been doing interviews all week, as you can imagine, with Jalen Hurts. And he was like, I just don't understand why people booed her. He was like, it was so disrespectful. He was
Okay,
like, and she's done so
which
much for the
which
NFL that
makes what
why,
I'm mad about even worse.
yeah, because he's like, I don't understand why, like, he's like, everybody's here to just watch the game. Everybody wants to do it. She brought a whole new generation of football players to watch us. All we all collectively want is the NFL to be successful, everybody play a good game, and everybody have fun watching football. And she's done a lot of that for the football people that didn't know football before. And he's like, so there's no reason.
Which makes what I'm mad about even worse because the New Heights podcast Twitter tweeted out a
Yeah.
congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, for those of you
Who
who don't,
was? Go ahead.
right, I
You're
was
about
like,
to
for
say what I
those
was
of
going
you
to
who
say.
don't know what New Heights is, it is Travis and Jason Kelsey's podcast. Jason Kelsey played his entire NFL career on the Philadelphia Eagles. Taylor Swift's family, prior to Travis being her boyfriend, including Taylor, were Eagles fans. Travis wasn't even upset that he lost the game because he lost it to the Eagles. Mama Kelsey still reps the Eagles. Kylie Kelsey said that she will wear Travis's name, but she, even to this day, won't wear anything but an Eagles jersey to a game. Like, the entire Kelsey family is still pro Eagles.
Yeah.
And the Swifties bullied them so hard that they took down the social media post congratulating the team that made Jason famous.
Yep. And the Casuals podcast with Katie Nolan, I was listening to it this week and she had a really good, like, succinct statement to say about that. And she's like, all the Swifties need to like, this is how you become a better football fan. You are there for the wins, you're there for the losses. It makes the wins better. And
Yeah.
she's like, you don't get to like bully other teams. Like we're all in it together, like Travis and Jason are brothers. Like you come out with all these outrageous things. You don't get to just attack people on the internet. And so, correct, the Swifties are a problem right now.
So the fact that Saquon was like defending her and her
Yeah,
fans are still like I'm over the era of the
yeah,
Swiftie right now.
yeah. But
Because
he just
it's not even her
right.
and it's not even people who like her music. It's this weird culty group of fans,
Right.
and it's not normal.
Yeah, Swifties don't come after us. But yeah,
Oh,
Saquon was mostly like
or
she's
do, and I will eat you for breakfast.
okay. I'm not as confident in my abilities. But yeah, Saquon's just like no one should have to deal with this like treatment, whether it's, like no one should be booed at a game. Like
Right.
and so like I get it. And like, but no, I was hell annoyed at the Swifties. But one last thing about the Eagles winning that is beneficial for me. I don't know if you heard, but we have finally gotten a new head coach as of yesterday.
Oh, I did not
Um,
hear.
and we got Kellen Moore, who is offensive coordinator for the Eagles. And
Love that.
so glad to see the Eagles offense did really well, especially because clearly the Chiefs defense was just like, take Saquon down. He's the one that's going to run. And they still blew him out of the water. Like they had all these other plans and such a like their offense. The offense did really well for such a boring game.
Yeah.
So we got Kellen Moore. Everyone's thrilled. We thought we were gonna, what's the other guy's name that we thought we were gonna get from the Eagles that everyone hated? I forgot his name. Please hold while I figure out what's going on.
It's okay. Buffalo Bills is
I don't know.
officially in off season, which means that everything on the entire internet is just rumors about who we are not keeping next year so that we can just have nothing but pure unadulterated anxiety for the next 5 months. Um
Yeah.
today James Cook unfollowed the Bills and wiped everything from the last 3 seasons from his Instagram, while after publicly stating he wanted at least $15 million in his next contract, which I don't think we have the money for.
Even if
Uh,
you did, I don't think you'd give it to him.
it would make him the
You're
second. It would make him the second highest paid running back in the entire league. The only person making more, Christian
right.
McCaffrey. Do I
But
think
your
James?
team is not known for
We
bowing
don't.
down to demands.
We don't. We don't. In fact, like Josh Allen and Von Miller have both negotiated down their contracts because they'd rather stay than make the money. Like,
Yeah.
we don't really tend to put that much money on a single person. We're not that kind
Yeah.
of team. And while James Cook is amazing, I don't know that he is like if he were to get this, it would put him above Saquon Barkley and below Christian McCaffrey in terms of highest paid running backs in the league. And do I think that he's that good? I don't.
I think he's got a good partner in Josh Allen.
I do. I
I
think
don't
that
think
he
he'd
works
have the
well.
same experience somewhere else.
I think he works well with this team. I think that
Hmm.
he has done like I do think this season we would not have gotten as far as we did without Cook,
Oh, for
100%.
sure. For sure.
But I think that I don't think I mean, Josh Allen is amazing.
Yeah.
But even Josh Allen will admit, he even did in his MVP speech, which we were recording during the awards last night, so I didn't, or last week, so I didn't talk about this, but then I hung up this and immediately just
Can you
cried for
hear
the
her?
entire, I just heard her, but just the one bark. But then I cried for the entire rest of the night at Josh Allen's MVP speech. And then I watched videos of like Slick Rick in the mailroom crying over Josh Allen mentioning him in his MVP speech. It was just,
I
it's
still
been,
haven't watched the speech. I
oh
don't
my
think I'm
God.
emotionally prepared.
Oh no, you're not. Oh, Sadie. They showed.
I know. She's been barking for like 5 minutes. It's because there's a school, but one of our 7 buses that drops off kids here has
Mm,
stopped to drop off kids and they're not leaving. And so now she's aggressively looking at these kids that she's
live
never been
here
aggressive to a child.
ever.
But when they're
Um,
outside, she's decided to sound like terrifying.
um, when they flashed to Haley Steinfeld, like watching him give the speech, it like I wanted to die. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I love
Um,
her so much.
me too. But even Josh will admit the Bills are not a star player team. The Bills are a chemistry team. The Bills work because they all choose to work together. Like we wouldn't do well with someone like a Christian McCaffrey or
Yeah.
Travis Kelce. Like it wouldn't fit the vibe here. It wouldn't fit the dynamics of our team. And that's one of the reasons why Stephon Diggs had to go
Didn't had to go, yeah.
because he had an attitude, and it like breaks my heart to see Cook kind of
Do the same thing.
doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about when you said that earlier. Because also we haven't heard from Diggs a lot this year. Like he went to Houston. It's not
Right.
like maybe he's getting paid more, but like
Yeah.
um also other news, you saw Cooper Kupp's getting traded
Yeah, I did.
theoretically.
Yeah. Well, that's the
But
thing.
like
Well, everything that happens in the next like 2 months until I see it as an official post from a team, I don't believe it, which is why when I first saw a post online about James Cook, I was
James
like,
Cook.
whatever. But then I went to his Instagram and like verified it myself and was like,
Yeah. I mean, I think Kupp's
this
going
is
to the
upsetting.
Steelers, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But the Lions seem to be trying to get rid of him one way or another.
Right.
And that feels incorrect for them. They had a good season. May as well
Yeah.
stay strong and try again.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
Agreed. I mean, but even
Um,
think about it, like Amari Cooper was a big name and then he came to the Bills and he was part of the puzzle. Like he wasn't,
yeah,
and that's just what we do.
right.
So I don't know.
I mean, Kellen Moore
Frustrating.
is for sure our head coach. That has been confirmed.
That
So
one is that no, that one's
that one is
legit.
confirmed. Yeah. I listened to if you want to hear another, I've been all I do is
Oh,
listen to
you told
podcasts.
us about this last week, right? About the one that does all the little sports fights.
No, that's casuals. That's what I was talking about that came out
Oh,
about the Swifties.
oh yeah.
But I also there's Mina Kimes does a good podcast where she talked with Puka and oh God, someone else. I forgot who she talked with Puka and someone else recently about the wrap up of 2024 season.
Mm.
And also the Saints Happy Hour podcast. That's the one I went and saw live last year with Nick and Rachel.
Yeah.
They did a whole episode about Kellen Moore yesterday,
Okay.
which was fun. It's not as easy to listen to because it's bros. It's four bros that like some are from here, some are from New York. Like but they are the Saints podcast. They are the Saints podcast, heart of it all. They're great people, but they're like interrupting each other and they're drinking and it's all this. So it's like you're at happy hour with these guys, listening to them tell you about what's happening in sports. Whereas like Katie Nolan and Mina Kimes are both very straightforward and very like their distractions are relevant
Right.
and not off catching. But Saints Happy Hour so far has done the best podcast about us getting Kellen Moore if you want to hear that one. So um those are my recommendations for football podcasts this week.
Okay. Um, yeah, football.
How are you? Did you have anything else to say other than football?
Um, no,
Now that we're 20
honestly,
minutes in.
yeah, honestly, I was I just found the funniest meme I've ever seen in my entire life. And it is a picture of Kendrick, but instead of his face, it's Edward Cullen, and it says "Say Jake."
I love it so much. I will never get sick. I have been looking at these memes and TikToks of Kendrick and Drake since what, April? Will
Yeah.
never get sick of them. Like
No.
it's almost been another year and I am just keep them coming.
Yeah. No, it sucks. The weather is really shitty here. It's icy, it's gross. But I'm going away tomorrow, so that's nice.
Where are you going to?
We're just going like an hour and a half away to like one of the lakes.
Oh, that'll be
A little
nice.
Valentine's Day getaway weekend.
Aw,
Yeah.
that'll be a nice
And then
time.
I don't have to work next week, so like
You're off next week? Is it like winter break or so? What month are we
yeah.
in? Is it winter break?
Yeah, it's February, it's midwinter break, and I need it so badly. But yeah,
Bro, me too.
because I'm
Me
fading.
too.
I had a random discussion with a bunch of teachers today about all the different levels of vitamin deficiency and seasonal versus regular depression that we have, and how today we all just like collectively refused to be people. It's like we're
Her.
at that point.
Mhm.
So, because of that, I don't really have anything else to talk about other than football, despite
Mhm.
having not watched the game at all.
But there's a lot going on in football that wasn't
Yeah.
one, just the game, but also like that you pick up from not even if you didn't watch it. Like
Yeah.
there's a
Like
lot going
the
on, especially with
drama.
our teams. Like with
Right.
us getting a new coach, y'all losing James Cook. Like a
Maybe.
lot is
Yeah.
happening internally as well as
Right.
the
And just
NFL as a
like
whole.
the cultural drama that is
The Super
everything.
Bowl.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
since everything else culturally in the world right now is like fear mongering and scare tactics and collective panic, like I don't want to
Yeah.
talk about anything other than football.
Right. Yeah. No, I feel
Uh,
that. I mean, my personal life is falling apart. My work life is off the walls crazy. The one thing I have is football, which is now gone. So I have to find a new sport. I hear baseball starting early though. Never
oh,
watched baseball. Maybe this is the year.
have you ever heard of kabaddi?
No.
I learned
Tell me
about this
more.
sport today. Today where I was talking to my kids and asking them about like their favorite sports and everything because we're just doing a game to like talk because they need to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
And so the question was, what do you think are the five most watched sports in the world?
And they said this sport I've never heard
Okay,
of.
right. Okay, so listen, hold on.
Okay.
But first of all, what do you think they are?
Kabaddi? What they are?
What are the five?
What
No,
it
what are
is?
the five
Oh.
top most in the world, worldwide,
Mhm,
watched
mhm.
sports?
American football, regular football, tennis, baseball, I guess kabaddi. But if I wasn't going to say kabaddi, I would say lacrosse or rugby.
Yeah, no, you have one of those.
One? Is it regular
No, I'm sorry. I'm
football?
sorry. No, two. You have two of them. It is soccer slash regular football, tennis,
Okay, that makes sense.
volleyball.
Volleyball. Baseball is like a national, like, I mean, it's like an international sport. Japan has a big league.
Yeah, but Japan and the U.S. are the only people who play Japan,
Really?
U.S. and the Caribbean islands. Nobody else plays baseball.
Hmm.
Cricket
Sure. The
and
European sport.
right, soccer and hockey. Like
Oh,
field.
hockey. I forgot about hockey.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So hockey, but so and my student, he's from India and he knew cricket, volleyball, football, and hockey. He got those
Football.
four right, but then he said kabaddi, and I was like, I thought he was just saying a word in like Gujarati, and I was like, what are you
Right.
talking about? And
You translated.
one of the other kids in class was like, no, 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 like it's a thing. I don't remember what movie I saw it in, and I go, can one of you guys spell this for me? Like, I have no idea what we're talking about. So I Googled it, like, and I had my screen up, and they were like showing me pictures of everything. It is the wildest sport. It is like a sport from South Asia, mostly played in India and Pakistan, but it's like a 7-on-7 team contact sport that is basically like the most insane game of freeze tag slash capture the flag, only like fucking violent as shit. And
I
they like have
have
to,
heard of
and
this.
I'm like, what is this?
I've
So
heard of
if
this.
you
It's
need a new
wild.
if you need a new sport to get obsessed with now that football season's over, just Google videos of kabaddi and just watch people beat the shit out of each other.
Well, it's basketball season because we're coming up on March Madness. So
Oh,
maybe I'll
right.
jump into the end of basketball and then mid-March, I think the 18th or 19th is first baseball game. I'll jump into baseball and figure it out this year.
Mm.
But volleyball season, I do love a good volleyball game.
Yeah. But that's my new thing. And then because because it's me and my brain and the kids who connect well with me, we ended class by watching Olympic rhythmic gymnastics,
Sure. Yeah,
hula hoop dancing in particular.
correct. Yeah, that tracks. That tracks. Um,
So since that's how what they worry about teachers indoctrinating kids and teaching them weird things. We watch hula hoop rhythmic
you're gonna have
gymnastics.
them all hula hoopers. How dare you? They're gonna be in the best shape they've ever been in their lives.
Yep, are gonna teach my kids to dance with hula hoops. And
Mm-mm-mm. God forbid.
oh, and then one of them fucking roasted me. This girl, I love her. She's a junior. She's not even in my class. She just skips lunch to come to my class every day. Um, she we were talking, the question was what is the most expensive sport? And my student, he said, one of my students said, soccer.
NFL football.
No, no, he said soccer. And I said, really? Like I said, what do you mean by that? I wanted to know where he was coming from before and he was like, well, tickets for the World Cup. And I was like, okay, you're talking about the price to attend the events. And then we talked about the World Cup and the Super Bowl and how they're both insane.
Ungodly. Mhm.
But I said, what about like sports that it's expensive to participate in? Because what do
Mhm.
you need if you want to play soccer? And they were like just a ball
Feet.
and feet, right? Like you can do it barefoot. You can do it with anything round and a space to play it in. You could play a game of soccer, really.
Right.
Um, which is why it's the most popular sport in the world. I was like, what do you need to play ice hockey? My one teacher, the one of my co-teachers is also the rifle coach, and she was like, one rifle costs $2,000.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was like,
I
yeah.
mean, skates are really expensive for hockey too,
Right. But
though.
I was like, but
Like,
hockey, I was like, you have helmets, pads, skates, gloves, like sticks, pucks, like and I was like, my biggest fear in life is that I will have kids and they will want to play hockey because then I will be broke for the rest of my life.
forever. Forever.
And this girl, she goes,
And it's so dangerous.
and this girl, she goes, you're a teacher. You'll be broke anyway. I was like,
Bless her heart. She's not wrong.
I was like, wow, I just got roasted.
You sure did.
Sure did. She's 100% correct, but it was,
Right, 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 right.
yeah. So, since my life consists of rhythmic gymnastics and roasting and being roasted by children, can you please
Yeah.
give
Well,
me
now that
some?
we've been doing this for 30 minutes, so I hope you like sports better than you like Marvel. If you don't, let us know. We'll go back to Marvel next week
Great.
or the next, because we record next week's today. So today's guidance fits very well, I feel like. Strength is what we gain from the madness we survive. And God, I hope so. That's all I gotta say.
Right.
God, I hope so.
Yeah.
Been a lot of madness lately.
Me too. Me too. Um, well, speaking of madness, Stargate.
It is something.
Yeah. Stargate SG-1 season 7 episode. I wrote 8. Did I mean to write 8?
It
Yes,
is
it
a
is
yeah, yeah,
8.
yeah.
Okay. I don't know, my brain. Season 8. No, season 7, episode 8, Space
Mhm,
Race.
mhm.
It was rated only 7.1 stars,
Sure, sure.
which is fair. It is fair.
Yeah.
While one of my favorite lines ever spoken in Stargate of all time was in this episode, I do also recognize that that one line does not a good episode make.
I also feel like any episode that I can be like, this is what it's about before we watch it, that's a problem.
Well,
This was too like you're like, it's a space race. I was like, it's about a race in space. You're like, yeah.
yeah.
Like,
No, but I mean, like, to be fair, the fifth race tells you exactly what it's about in the title.
yeah, but I don't know enough about the other four races that I'm like, you know,
Okay.
like this was like space race, like what's that game? It was a math game that I played as a child with aliens.
I don't know.
Yeah, you know. Yeah,
Do
yeah,
I?
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I played as a child. There were aliens. It was a math game, and you raced around the galaxy and you had to get math stuff right.
I certainly did not play this game.
You had to have. You had
I
to have.
played plenty of math games as children, and I played plenty of alien games as children. I don't think I played this game.
I think it starts with a B. Math Blaster.
Oh
Did
no,
you
I
ever play?
certainly did not play math.
Oh, well, you had a terrible childhood. Let me start there. But also, Math
Um,
Blaster is how this whole race felt to me while I was watching it.
um, there, I did, no, not that. There was a game that I played as a kid, with this alien that you had to cook breakfast for.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Zombinis. Zombinis. That's one you had to cook for them.
it was, no, it was weird. What?
Was it not Zombinis?
It was not. You just like lived with this guy, and I swear his name was Alfie, but it wasn't. Um, because then when I tried to Google that, I just got Alf, which was not.
Right. Not the same.
But
Was it a math game?
no, it was like a bunch of different like things. And I don't. I'm gonna have to. I literally am gonna have to ask my dad what this game was. It was like, it was really, really weird. Um, but there was. But the alien, when you got the questions right, he said, that is correct. And in that voice. And so we just say that all the time.
That is correct.
But like, don't know what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, no idea. So it came out on Friday, August 1st, 2003. We have the same song. The top book was To the Nines by Janet Ivanovich, which
Oh,
is part
sure.
of the number
I was
series of
like, is it
books.
James Patterson or Janet Ivanovich?
Yeah, right. And the top movie makes me uncomfortable because last week the top movie was Spy Kids, and this week we are in a very very different
Nice.
world than Spy
Hmm.
Kids. But we're also in a movie that I don't believe I was 11 when it came out. Like, my life doesn't make sense to me. You ever have those
Okay.
things where you're like, that can't be how time works?
All the time.
Because the top movie that day was American Wedding.
Mm.
And I swear I was older when that movie came out.
I was behind the times on all those movies, so I'm not surprised by how
But
that
so,
movie
like,
came
I
out.
knew I didn't watch the first two when they came out because I was too young. But I could
Right,
have
right.
sworn I was older by the time this one came out. And apparently I was not.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch it in 2003. I for sure didn't.
Sure.
For
Sure, 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 sure,
sure
sure.
didn't. But I'm now also second guessing how the entire scope of my life went.
Yeah.
So on this day, um, I don't I have two really no, I have three pieces of news, and one of them is really depressing.
Mm.
One of
Can't wait.
them is depressing just in the fact that, again, time and the way it works, and one of them is just really weird. Um, so there was a Mondoc truck bombing in southern Russia that killed 52 and wounded 82 people. The government blamed a group of Chechnyan separatists, and they 100% denied it. Said they had nothing to do with it. And
Sure.
22 years later, I still don't know that anyone knows who did it. So that's
Excellent.
depressing.
That's depressing. Yeah.
On this day, North Korea agreed to talk about its nuclear standoff with Japan, South Korea, Russia, the US, and China. Um,
Did they
Again,
actually do it?
I don't know. 22 years later,
They just
here we
agreed to
are.
do it?
They did,
Yeah.
they agreed to have
Hmm.
conversations about where they stood with that. Um,
Hmm.
so that made me feel like nothing has happened in 22 years.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, that's how I feel every time you tell me anything about international affairs. Like,
Right. That's the thing about this podcast and going back and like looking at older shows and looking at the on this day, I'm like, no, but that was yesterday's headline.
yeah. Yeah.
Especially rewatching The West Wing and being like, no, but this is the same problem we have in the White House now. Quote. Um,
Yeah.
and the last piece of news, which is really fascinating, um, the Ministry of Social Affairs and Health in Finland just like announced a plan to make it necessary for stores to have a license to sell tobacco,
Okay.
um, which did eventually finish passing in 2010. So for the last 15 years, you have had to have a license from the government to sell any
Hmm.
tobacco products.
Right.
Um, there
I did
are
think that was longer ago that that passed.
there well because it originally started in 2003, so and then didn't finish till 2010.
Right. What
Um,
else is new?
there are like there are probably more public smoking bans in Finland than any other country. And the current government has declared that pot plans to abolish all smoking in the country by the year 2030.
Hmm.
Now, the funny thing is, when I took this note, I didn't write abolish. I wrote delete. They have
Sure.
plans to
Yeah.
delete all smoking.
I also have plans to delete all smoking in my vicinity.
Yep. So apparently Finland will be smoke free in the next 10 years.
Go
5
for
years. Oh my
it.
God, 2030 is only 5 years away.
Yeah, girl. Yeah, girl. I know. I know.
Yeah.
Here we are. This is my life. It's
This
fine.
this episode was directed by Andy Makita, written by Damian Kindler, and edited by Rick Martin. So no new names, but names we haven't seen in a
But
little bit.
right.
And our guest was Scott McDonald. Um, he was known for who played Jarlath, by the way. Um, he was known for The Last Champion, Jarhead, 3 Day Weekend, and Jack Frost. Um, He grew up in a small town in northwest Montana and went to school in Washington State for broadcasting. And only once he was already in college realized that like acting was a job you could do. Um,
Bless his heart.
and then loved it and has worked on stage and screen. He's just done like tons of commercials. He did have one Broadway role in the 80s in a show that I'd never heard of. But it won a Pulitzer Prize. It was not a musical, it was just a play. But and he does also do a lot of prosthetic work, like including the fact that in Star Trek The Next Generation, he played six different species of aliens. Um, yeah.
Good for him.
So oh, those are all my trivia. I was like, that's so we start with Sam rushing into the SGC after getting an urgent message and to find Warwick. Which did you remember Warwick?
He sounded familiar, but I could not remember why we knew him. He said he saved Sam, or she said he saved her, but
Yeah. No,
that was all that
she
I.
saved his life. The episode where we had the prison ship and the humans that were turned out to be the ones who were the prisoners and the alien
Mm,
was the good guy, Warwick was the alien.
gotcha, gotcha. Okay.
Yes. So Sam rushes into the SGC. She finds Warwick. He says he will give. Sorry, Dan just started singing downstairs. He was
At
not
least he's
home.
home.
Yeah, he wasn't home when we started this. He says he will give her access to the technology on the Cerberus, his ship, in exchange for help to win a race. So
There you
we're
go.
we're racing. And then we have the credits. We find out that this race is an annual competition that a giant tech company on their planet, which is Hebridean, which remember, you should remember this episode because I couldn't figure out how to say the words Hebridean for the entire episode.
I do remember that part of it. I do not know that I remember the rest of the episode. Otherwise,
Yeah. Um, it was it was one of Jonas's last episodes, I think. But um they they use this competition to find the best pilots and Warwick is not really like giving them information on the up and up. Like the government is not part of him trying to give them technology. He just like really wants to win this
wants to win.
race. And so he's like, well, maybe if I use your Naquita generator and I win this race, then I'll help you if you help me, you know?
Right.
Um, and Sam's like, only if I get to fly the ship with you.
He is like so gung ho.
She's
He's
like,
like,
let's
I'm
do
in
this.
100%, but I'm all
Yeah.
the way in.
Um, so they go on a quote unquote diplomatic mission to the planet. Um, Daniel also thinks Sam's a little too excited about this.
Yeah.
And
I
he's
mean, Sam is a little too excited about this. Bless her heart.
yeah. And then we get the first part of what makes this a bad episode. And that is that every couple minutes we get interrupted by a reality TV news update, a la Stanley Tucci in the Hunger Games movies. Like it is
This felt like it was more like the 100th episode than like a regular like
yeah,
Stargate episode.
it was very interesting. But so that we get the news channel update and it tells us all about and it tells basically it tells the Hebrideans about Sam joining the race. The little news updates add nothing to the plot. Except for showing us how corrupt this tech company is, really. Like,
Right. And how much they don't want Warwick to win because they think
correct.
he's useless and
Right.
not worth it. I don't know.
Yeah. Um, the team arrives. They meet Eamon, who is Warwick's brother, who is a little testy immediately from the jump. Just, um, Warwick gives Sam the most gigantic user guide ever to the ship. And it's really funny because Jack's like, that's not in our language. And Sam was like, it's in mine. Because Jack, which is only funny to me because Jack is an Air Force pilot. Like there's all these things about Jack being dumb, and I do understand that in terms of like the level of mechanical engineering and space mechanics or whatever that
Sure.
Sam would be able to understand. He couldn't. But flying the ship is not something he can't do.
Right, right. That's like step one.
Right. So, Sam has to read the book, and the others are going to go join or meet with the like president of this company or country or planet or whatever it's called to,
Whatever this landmass
yeah,
is.
however they call their rulers, which it definitely is just the president of the tech company. However, that may or may not
For
also
sure.
mean it's like the president of the world. I don't know.
Right.
Um,
He's the CEO of the world.
yeah. So, but then Teal'c's like, "Oh yeah, Sam needs me to stay and help her," which is my
Joke's like,
favorite.
I want to play too.
No, no, he doesn't. He just doesn't
I
want to
know.
be on the diplomatic mission.
I know.
He's like, "This is not my jam."
It is
So,
not. It is very much not, though.
yeah. And Sam's like, yeah, I need Teal'c for
Mhm.
sure. Um, Eamon tells Sam that Hebridean does in fact have power sources that are akin to the Naquagen generator. They just can't afford them. So that's the first sign that we find out that like Warwick is not doing this just because he wants to win. He's like poor and desperate.
Yeah.
Um, but he also says Warwick's very desperate. Like, and we find out that while he was crash landed on the planet, which is where we met him, that was actually like a good almost year that he was gone. And while he was gone, his wife left him, married someone else, and has children.
You know what that sounds like? Was it Toke's wife that left that when and
Oh,
married someone else?
yeah.
Hmm.
Everybody's
The
wives are
trauma.
everybody's wives are unfaithful. It is
Except
really
Sharae.
except Share. But then
Although Daniel,
Daniel made out with every female.
God, we should have the reality TV of Stargate.
Why can't anyone just love their spouse even though they're not there?
Right. Or also, why can't their spouse just be where they are for the moment? Which, like, I get Tilk had to leave, but like, go back or like make contact. Daniel is too much, team too much. Um, but like, I don't know. I want the Real Housewives of Stargate.
The only loves on this show that are real are Jack and Sam and their
Jack and
inability
Sam.
to ever love each other, and General Hammond and his
His
family.
grandchildren.
Oh, fuck everybody else on this entire show.
I know. It's a nightmare.
Um, so Warwick arrives and they have with the specs to the loop to find out like what the race is actually going to look like and who the other competitors are. And they find out.
Although these specs are not as helpful as you want them to be. Like I thought they were going to be like, here's some things to watch out. No, no, no.
Well, to be fair, they apparently the racetrack doesn't change very much.
I guess.
From what they were explaining, it was like the 5 phases of the race are always
Right.
the same. So like, and it did show the track.
Yeah.
They just didn't focus on it for us because it's way more interesting to find out who the other people are than to watch a video game space track.
Sure. I
Unless we get
guess.
to play it.
Oh my God. Stargate, the video game. I am just trying to franchise out this franchise.
I would like this space race to be a VR video game.
I couldn't play it. I get sick. I have much like I have the worst motion sickness that if it's first person anything, whether even Xbox, like I can't play first person on Xbox or I get sick. So like not it. In my Walkabout mini golf game, for those of you who have a MetaQuest, if you have the MetaQuest Plus, Walkabout mini golf is free. And it's the best game on the entire planet. However, you can raise yourself up to fly, so you can like look for lost like golf balls. When I raise myself up to fly, I immediately get nauseous. Like I could not play a space race on VR.
Do you can you ride like Soarin'?
Not well. Not well. I have to close my eyes through like half of it.
Um,
Yeah.
well, we find out about the other opponents. I don't know what to say to that. That is insane to
I'm
me.
sorry. My body hates me.
I mean, I want to die every time I look at blood, so I
That's
guess
true. I can see
um
blood. Fine with that. I mean, I don't love it, but like my body can handle it.
um Sam and Warwick. Oh no, I skipped it. So we find out about the people who the opponents are, and like there are two of them that are like super, super skilled, and one of them who's also probably really skilled, but bigger problem is that he definitely should not be in the race because he was a prisoner for a long time and don't know why his sentence is over.
Yeah.
And Warwick is the one
It's
who
like throwing
put
like
him on
Ted
the.
Bundy in a race when he escaped prison.
Yeah. But I
It's
don't
like, I
think
don't
he
know, he's not
escaped.
in prison.
I don't think he escaped. I think his sentence was just over. Like, who's somebody who went to jail, but like for sure not for enough time?
Oh my gosh,
OJ?
there's so many people. Did he even go to jail officially?
No, I think was on house arrest for
He was on
thievery.
house arrest, yeah. But yeah, he's a good example, I guess.
I mean, Akon maybe? No, but Akon didn't commit any more crimes after he got out of jail.
Yeah, he kind of got it together.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, Sam and Warwick go to the store to get a scanner, and the shop guy is like, "You have been over your credit limit for so long, I literally cannot give you one." And Sam's like, "Ooh, this is rough."
Yeah,
And he's like, "But I
been
will give."
there.
He was like, "I will give you an old reconditioned one, but like, you're gonna have to pay me back. Like, we can't keep doing this." And of course, Jarlath, the OJ Akon of the team, who interrupts and says that he's not going to win the race, and he like is trying to instigate shit and start a fight with Warwick, and
Hmm.
Sam is like,
Ed Kemper.
yes.
He killed people, got released, and then killed his grandparents or his mom or whatever, and then went
Mhm.
back. Ed Kemper.
Ed Kemper, way better than OJ or Akon.
Yeah.
Uh, in
Yeah.
terms of comparison, not in terms of taking over.
I was gonna say, yeah, they didn't kill people, and I was like, wait, wait a minute.
No, wait, I know
Backtrack.
OJ definitely did. I think Akon was in a gang fight and may have actually killed someone before he became a musician.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because you have to remember, the first Akon single that actually got famous was
Was
Locked
locked
Up.
up. Yeah.
So, um,
Yeah.
so, so they're all murderers. Jarlath isn't though. He's a gun runner.
Yeah. And also only Ed Kemper went on to then kill more people, I think.
I
As
think.
far as we know.
Yeah. Yeah, one was a gang fight, one was a crime of passion, and neither one of them became serial killers. Ed Kemper definitely was.
Definitely was, yeah.
Um, which is so funny. I was listening to My Favorite Murder the other day out loud, and Dan just goes, "What the fuck are you listening to?" I was like, "Makes me calm." What?
I've been listening to the rewinds because I'm not all the way caught up, but I'm mostly caught up. So I listen to the new episodes and the rewinds. Have you seen
Oh,
that?
yeah, I have, but I am a completionist with a problem, and
Mhm.
I'm still listening to the early ones. So I was on like episode like 26.
Right. Well, I think I'm like 3 months behind. Like I'm not like I'm pretty caught up.
No,
Um,
I'm in the summer of
yeah,
2016.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's also where I am in the rewind.
Oh, good. I was listening to
So
the child murder episode.
maybe I'm not to that one yet. It might be early 2016. Which one is that?
It's 2666.
Mm-mm, not in that one.
Yeah.
I just finished 23 because they called it just the 23 of us.
Yes,
No, no,
but
no. No, I'm in 32. I must have started on the I haven't listened to all of the rewind because they did just
mm,
the 32 of us.
okay, yeah, no, by episode 2666, which obviously
Or I
26.
listened to it and forgot already because that would also
Well,
make
it was
sense.
it was some of the most violent, upsetting murder of children, and I was just
Hmm.
like calmly listening to it while playing a game on my computer, and Dan was so concerned.
That's hard.
Um, could you imagine if he had been listening to me listen to last podcast on the left instead?
He would he would be terrified. Or he may pick up pointers since he's a serial killer. Who's to
True,
say? Who's to
true.
say?
Um, but so Teal'c and Eamon finish up what they're working on, and they go get lunch when someone sneaks onto the ship. Um, Then we cut to the race beginning, and the news anchors don't think that Warwick has a chance, and I have absolutely nothing else to say about the news anchors. um,
It's like Brady's first football game.
yeah, right.
He did get much better for the Super Bowl. I mean,
No,
he's
I
not
know.
like he's fine. He's not great, he's fine. But he's
Yeah.
much better than the beginning of
But
the
like also
season.
like why do we do that? Why do people who used to be good at football, whose like entire careers were head injuries, then become like presenters?
I don't know. I didn't pick it. I didn't
Because
make the rules.
like Tony Romo, the Manning brothers, Tom Brady, Ryan Fitzpatrick, which I love Ryan
Tony
Fitzpatrick.
Romo doesn't do terrible though. I mean, I
Tony
hate the
Romo doesn't do terrible.
Cowboys.
I do. I hate him though. But then like
Yeah.
not even just like but then like what's his name? Michael
Don't hate on
Strahan.
Terry Bradshaw though. Come at me.
Oh no no
Don't.
no. Some of that. Listen, I love Ryan Fitzpatrick's like stuff. I love Terry Bradshaw, but I'm saying like look at this list of people whose entire careers was getting their heads pummeled because
Yeah.
now Jason Kelsey's doing it too. Like I'm like
I know. I do love Jason Kelsey though.
I love Jason Kelsey. I love Terry Bradshaw. I love Ryan Fitzpatrick. I have nothing bad to say about any of the three of them.
Terry
I'm just
Bradshaw's
saying.
a Louisiana Tech guy.
I'm just saying, if you look at the number of people that are sportscasters who are former sports players who probably aren't the most eloquent speakers in the world because their
Yeah.
job was to get punched in the face. Like
Right, right, right.
it's like
Yeah.
when Rob Ray stopped being a coach for a hot minute and like was the announcer for like hockey. I was like, why?
Yeah. I don't know as much about hockey, so I don't know this guy, but I believe you. I
He just got inducted into the Sabres Hall of Fame this year.
Oh,
But
good for him.
yeah. But so Sam and Warwick begin the race. Jarlath still tries to mess with them with on the stage one is a defense test, and Warwick tries to help someone and they lose, and it's really sweet, and it just tells you what kind of person he is. Um,
Oh,
and then but he makes it clear of what is stage one. And then stage two is entering the sun's coronasphere because that's just a thing that we do and fighting the heat. At the end of stage one, the top three are the three that we were worried about from the beginning of the thing. And the newscasters still think Marios is going to win.
yeah.
Um, Suddenly, the engine explodes and they're losing power. So they're running on auxiliary power. And Warwick puts the blast shields down to try and stop the radiation because we're gonna die in the sun. Um,
Yeah, that's what happens when you fly into the
in the
sun. You
sun.
die.
Yeah. So Teal'c and Eamon are on the planet, like trying to on base control. I called it base control, trying to figure out what happened to the ship. Um, and they find out that the power diverter failed and that someone purposely cut a connector cord. Like there was no way it was an accident or an overheating. There is something wrong with it. So Eamon says that in order for them to do a workaround, they have to connect the nappa generator directly to the engine while mid-flight, which seems like a very dangerous thing to do.
Soup's fine.
And we get a quick cut to the news anchors saying some kind of bullshit. Then Eamon tries to determine who would have been able to find his schematics and know how to hurt the ship because he has changed a lot of the actual like tech of the inside of the ship. So you would have to know what he did to know how to hurt it.
Right.
Warwick and Sam fix the generator, get the ship back online. Eamon discovers that it was his supervisor who accessed his records, and he and Teal could go to TechCon to find answers.
Eek.
Um, Sam and Warwick are trying to check their status compared to the other ships when Jack calls in and says they can quit now since he negotiated a deal of giving TechCon a Stargate in order for an ion drive. Um,
Yeah.
but Sam's like, no, I made a deal because now Sam realizes that Warwick is doing this not just to win, but because he needs it.
Yeah.
Um, and then she suggests using the sun's gravity to slingshot them and pick up speed.
Sam in this whole episode, I just, when you talk about unhinged, she is so excited about this
Yeah.
that she's like, this is what I joined the Air Force for. This is why I've been taken over by an alien before. This is why all of the bad things have happened. So I could fly in this deadly space race that I may not make it back from because we might fly into the sun. Like, unhinged. I'm glad she's
I
having a
mean,
great time,
here's the thing.
but
Here's the thing. If someone showed up at my door right now with a magical sword and a dragon and said, everything that you've been reading about is real, we need you, I would do it.
I would light my entire house on fire.
Oh, absolutely not. I'd be on
I
that
would
dragon.
know.
I'd be on that dragon's back in
Mm.
a fucking second.
First of all, heights, not a fun time for me. You gotta fly if you're on a dragon's back.
Yes, that is how, in
Um,
fact, you get around. Yeah.
not here for it. Fire everywhere. I do like fire, but fire everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
You might fly into the sun. I don't know how high they fly. I've never flown on a dragon. But
Never
just
read about a
feels
dragon
like
flying that high.
now I need to know. I would need to know what the benefits are. Like maybe you do this thing that we're asking of you, this journey, and then you never have another problem in your life. Maybe
And
I'd
then
do it.
you win a fairy prince and a kingdom and jewels. Like, ooh,
I don't know. That feels like a lot of responsibility. I've read these kind of books and I recently restarted this one, but that's a lot of responsibility. Can I be like the handmaiden? That feels a lot easier, a lot less responsible. You still get to live in a fancy castle. You still don't have to worry about like bills and stuff because you just live there.
no, okay,
So you go win. I'll be your handmaid. Perfect. And we can still do
perfect,
the podcast. Stay
great.
tuned for what's the place called?
Which, well, it depends. I'm kind of talking about three different series at the same time right
Right,
now.
right. I'm talking about Akatar. What's
Oh,
the land?
Prithian.
Coming to you live, Death and Aliens in Prithian. That'll be our new tagline.
Perfect.
So
Oh.
anyways, that's how Sam is.
Yeah. Eamon and Teal go to TechCon and they break into Tynan's computer to find out what he knows about the ship. Um, Jarlath sends a distress call, which is great. Um, it's actually great. It's so funny. It just doesn't even make sense. Eamon discovers that Tynan has sabotaged all of the ships besides Murios, and Murios got an illegal power booster. And he tries to warn Warwick, but Tynan comes into his office and shuts it off. And then Warwick and Sam call Jarlath after his distress call, and he's losing oxygen, but he does not want their help, and he refuses them, and they go after him anyway to save him because he's gonna die. And Jarlath boards the Cerberus and tells them that his ship was also sabotaged. He did not get hit in order to lose oxygen. It just started going down.
Jarlock is
Uh,
the most stubborn person
oh,
on
he's
this whole
such a
planet. I was
shithead.
like, shut up and let them save you.
Yeah. Um, Tynan explains that there's race warfare on their planet and that there is uh the two races are the Sareks and the humans, obviously. And he thinks of the Saracen, that's what it is. The Saracens, he thinks that the Saracens are trying to enslave the humans. Um,
They might be.
and And he's like, every time that I've been up for an opportunity, I've lost it, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is a conspiracy. And they're basically like Teal'c's like everyone like intermarries and like has like the races like don't even separate. Like how could that even be a thing? And he's like, because it is, blah blah blah. And this is where my absolute favorite line ever in any TV show comes up because Eamon says, have you ever considered that you were passed up for a promotion not because you're human, but because you're a moron?
I'm gonna take that line.
And I died. Uh oh. My next note, the news continues to sell Tech.com.
Yeah. Eamon might be a little like insufferable, but he isn't a bad guy. He's
No,
like
he's
he hates the right people.
correct. He's definitely somebody you want on your side.
Yeah.
Um, Jack and Teal'c go to, or Jack and Daniel go to find Teal'c and Eamon, but the receptionist won't let them in. So Jack tells her to call Hagen, who is the president of the world, and so Murios calls Tynan and is freaking out because Warwick's still in the race and he doesn't understand why everybody's ship hasn't exploded yet. Tynan says he's going to deal with the ship. So he calls Warwick, Sam, and Jarlath and tells them that he has Eamon and Teal'c and that they need to drop out of the race. So
Mhm.
Warwick starts to power down his ship. Jack and Daniel tell Hagen that Teal'c is inside and he brings them into the facility to find them. Jarlath throws a temper tantrum because they dropped out of the race.
Because what else is new?
Yes. Hagen walks in and arrests Tynan and tells him that, in fact, he was not promoted because he's been under investigation for corruption for over a year and it has nothing to do with his intelligence level or his humanity. He's just a dick.
Yeah.
Um, so Eamon lets the Warwick know that he's okay and that they need to win. So they go after Murios, and Jarlath suddenly uses all his gun running skills to actually do something useful for once in his life, and he uses the communications to send a blast that freezes the controls on Murios' ship, and it works. Unfortunately, Warwick was too far behind, so Lael, the other girl who was in the race, wins. Um,
Which
but
fine,
that,
good for her.
yeah. Then we go back to Earth. Um, we find out that Lael did actually hire Warwick to be her co-pilot for whatever TechCon hired her to do. So he didn't win the race, but he does still get a job and money, which is why he did the race in the first place. So
Right.
that's good. Um, and Sam is super bitter that she lost and is talking about joining the race next year.
She's like, what is the phrase? Stupidity is doing the same. What is it? You know what I'm trying to say?
Insanity is doing the same thing
Insanity
over and
is
over again, expecting a different result.
right, 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 right.
Yeah,
Sam,
correct.
get out of the race while you're ahead. And by that I
Um,
mean not dead.
yeah, so that is the end of the episode. It was an episode.
Off the wall.
Um, do you have any thoughts before I give us some trivia?
No. I've had so many thoughts this episode already, that I don't probably need anymore. It wasn't great. Again, it felt like I was
Yeah,
watching. I mean, kind of like we were talking about, I felt like I was watching like a video game. It didn't feel like I was watching
right.
like a Stargate. And I mean, just it
Oh,
is what it is this week
yeah.
for that one.
Um, two kind of just silly things. The set that they were on was actually a high voltage resonant testing site. Like none of that stuff was like fake, all the spaceship stuff. Like the spaceship itself obviously wasn't, but like the set that they were at
Sure.
was like actually like a high like electrical testing site.
Interesting. That sounds dangerous. Is that not
Yeah,
dangerous?
I don't know.
Okay.
Um, Also all of the satellite images from the planets or like the downward images of the planet from the planets of Hebridean are just an upside down distortion of Earth. They didn't even come up with a different planet.
Look, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So many different people use that kind of technique in visuals all the time.
Oh yeah, Prithian is just England.
Yeah, it's like, why would you not just use what's already there and make it your own? Because you're not trying to like, I mean, it's the same thing you did when you made our opening credits. You took a swing set and just
Oh
stretched it
yeah.
out. Like, just
which I
use what's
lost.
there.
That's not the sound we use anymore because I lost that
What's not.
file. No, remember when I crashed my computer and I lost everything and I like restarted?
Yeah.
I had to get a new one, a new sound because I
Oh,
lost that
what is
file.
it now?
Something that was on Canva already of
I've for
creepy
sure
sound.
listened to it. That was a long time ago. I've listened like at least in the past month times.
Well, the definitely the new
But I've
every
definitely heard it.
yeah. This
Okay, I
might
just
yeah.
didn't
But
pay
the
attention.
original themes, like the original opening credits of our podcast, yes, it was a distorted swing set sound.
Yeah, just distort it and make it your own of everything in life. That's my new advice.
Yeah. Um, the two aliens in this episode, so Chaka and Warwick, are actually
Nope.
were no, Warwick and Eamon.
Jarlath. Oh, Eamon, yeah, yeah.
Warwick and Eamon are the same actors who played Chaka and Coruscant in the last episode. That's why Chaka,
Gotcha.
because Chaka, I was reading it off my notes. But yeah, so
You said it and I was like, nope, that's not
no,
right.
yes, Warwick and Chaka are the same person. That's what I meant.
Gotcha.
Um,
Oh, that's fun.
yeah. And the last note I have is that Amanda Tapping actually loved making this episode because she
Yeah. Yes,
because
obviously.
obviously because she loved making this episode because she just loved that it was like a different side of Sam that we never get to see, and we really don't know a lot about Sam's personal life, but like this was just like a side of like Sam having fun and being competitive and like being a person, and she just had the time of her life. And she was like, it felt like a video game. Like for her, sitting in that her whole most of her acting was sitting in a chair pressing buttons, and she like felt like a real like she got to
It's like
be
what's the new Star Wars ride at Disney? It's not that new now. It came out like 5 years ago.
The flight one with the what's it
Mm-mm.
called?
The Star Wars one.
Yeah, no, the one where you fly the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That
Yeah,
one.
the by
Mhm.
flight I meant flying the thing, not like that flight
I
was in the
my
name of
brain
it.
went flight of passage when you
Right.
said that. And I was
And I
like,
was
that's
like,
not
no.
it.
What is that called?
Um,
Smuggler's Run.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
That's what it
Um,
felt like she was doing in this episode.
right. I mean, that is
So
what
I'm sure it
she
was a blast. I'm sure it was a blast.
so much fun. To be
Yeah.
fair, I haven't ridden Smuggler's Run yet, so in my mind it was just Mission
Oh, it's
Space.
fun. I was gonna say Mission Space is a good backup, but Smuggler's Run is very similar, but
Yeah,
more space inside.
which is funny because Mission Space is not space.
Right, right, right. Zero space. You're just crammed in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's super fun too. Doesn't make me sick. I can ride that.
That's
Motion
fun.
sickness doesn't affect me. I ride the orange one or the green one, whatever is the
The orange one, yeah.
adult one.
Yeah.
Um,
You
doesn't
can
make me
ride
sick.
the orange Mission Space and not Soren.
Yeah. I don't make the rules. I just suffer
I don't
from
think
them.
you follow them either.
I didn't say that either. I don't know. I didn't create this existence. It just is what it is. I've just learned how to deal with it.
Yeah, so
And so on Sword, I just close my eyes when I have to, when I start feeling nauseous.
speaking of nauseous, who do you want to punch?
Oh, Jarlath.
Yeah.
Like maybe the tech guy is worse, but like Jarlath, God, he annoyed the hell out of me.
Yeah, that's fair. Tynan's probably the correct answer, but I'm gonna punch the fucking news anchor guy because
You're
that was
gonna say that.
just so such a waste of my the human one too, like not
Right.
even the half human one. The half human one
Mhm.
just like looked like he was being bullied into being there. Like I
He
genuinely
was,
felt like there was like
yeah,
there was definitely like uh a branding iron under the desk that they were like fucking talk or you die.
yeah.
Like
He's like, this guy, I got matched with this guy, and now I don't have a choice but to deal with him.
right. Who is your MVP?
I think work. I was a little split between work and Eamon because I think they both did a lot. But I just like work. He's just so
Yeah.
kind. He tried to save everyone's life even when they didn't want it.
Yeah. Um, I think I will have to pick Eamon because also he was a good guy, but he did it in the meanest, saltiest way possible.
The
And
saltiest way, for sure.
one of my students hates me. And he like I came up behind him and he was like, oh, and he like rolled his eyes. And my co-teacher was like, that's how you know you're a good teacher when somebody hates that much that you're in their business. I was like, oh, believe me, I know.
Cool. Yeah. That's so funny.
Um, but yeah. So next week we have an episode that less people like than this one.
I'm not excited. Am I gonna like it better though? Like, or
I don't
will
think
I be
so.
on?
I don't think so.
Okay, that's
Um,
fine.
yeah, it's not good.
I guess that's okay.
In fact, it might be. It's not the lowest rated it's not the lowest rated episode of the show, but it is one of the most universally hated episodes of the show.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Cannot wait. I cannot wait.
Um, it's called Avenger 2.0,
Is it
which
Marvel?
it is not Marvel.
Ugh, I already hate it.
Yeah. Um,
It ruins everything.
so, yeah, that's really all I have. We are chugging along. Um, this not one of the stronger seasons
All right. Next season we get to be, is it after season 8 or during season 8?
during season 8.
So next
Um,
season we get to be all up in the air, chaos. Only
yes.
like what episode are we on? We're about to be on 9. Only
We're
like
about to be
13 more
on 9
weeks.
before everything is unhinged.
Can't wait. Can't wait. I hope you like our unhinged opinions until then.
Yeah, if you guys think I'm not serious about doing this as a tandem, I'm currently reading two books at the same time because they happen at the same time. So I go back and forth based on which one follows, and I have a guide of which chapters to read when, which is exactly how I will be handling the crossover years of Stargate.
I mean, that's how I'm watching all of Marvel. I'm about to start the second half of the third season of Agents of Shield. It's what, like the sixth time I've gone back to Agents of Shield after I've watched whatever's in between. Like, no,
Yeah.
this is who
Oh,
we are as people.
we take tandeming seriously.
We take tandeming seriously. That is who we are.
Yeah. So if you have concerns about the way our brains work, same.
Join the club.
But email us at deathandaliens@gmail.com or follow us on any of the social media at deathandaliens. You can follow me everywhere at EMKAY_superstar.
And you can find me at CE Cloud 13.
And we will see you on Thursday for a lovely episode of Thriller Thursday.
Yeah.
Bye.